Ricky.
What's
Hello,
up?
everybody. As always, it's me, K Fresh Kevin Fulton, back and reinstated on Twitter. With me, my main. What are you wearing there? What kind of shirt is that
It's
you got on?
my 01 Hashimoto memorial shirt.
Very nice. Cool shirt.
Yeah.
That is our
Yes.
boy, the Cuban crippler, Ricky Reyes, the innovator of strong style lucha. Beautiful, beautiful Sunday afternoon into the evening. And we are recording our thoughts, review, and our hot takes coming off of WWE's Night of Champions, which was live from Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia, did I say that right?
Saudi Arabia, I think.
Yeah. Anywho, uh, Rick, let's get a little preview of what the show was, I guess, for people who have missed it. Or do you want to jump? Well, first of all, did you watch it? This was actually your homework assignment was to watch this show.
Technically, I watched the show, and if the show consisted of one match, I did all my homework.
Oh
I
boy.
just got
Oh,
done, as you were texting me, watching AJ and Seth. Uh, I didn't get the rest of the stuff on me yet, so I don't know exactly what all happened. I went through Twitter like
literally
because
the
it
first
was at
match.
noon. Yes. So, yes.
I didn't start this show until about, I don't know, maybe 10 to 9 last night.
Mhm.
And I watched the whole way through. Luckily for me, I realized that I can just skip 4.5 minutes, about give or take, in between most of the matches. And
Right.
that was going to cover the Peacock advertisements
Ugh, yeah.
and the entrances or the afterbirths from the previous match.
Right.
So I made up some time, and I still didn't finish watching the show until about a quarter to 12. And then I got woken up this morning, a child smacking me in the face to turn the TV on, and I was like, dude, it's 7 in the morning on a 3-day weekend. Find
Yeah.
literally anything else in the world to do because I'm not opening my eyes. But they protested and they won because I have spoiled Long Island children. But
Mhm.
anywho, I took some notes last night because I had a feeling that you weren't going to watch this.
Well, I really wanted to watch it.
Like new gas station open up down the road.
Yeah, and it was just it was a happening, so I had to be there. But I kind of got everything, all the high points at least, through Twitter, because by the time it was what 12:30 or 12 o'clock here, I think is when it actually started for us in
Right.
Texas. It was like 12 p.m. Um, so in the afternoon, I was kind of like scrolling through, saw some good stuff. I figured the AJ and Seth would be another as good as it's getting nowadays. So I definitely wanted to watch that.
Well, I was pleasantly surprised because we called this a two-match show,
Right.
last week, and I think we
Right.
might have slept on it. It was a sleeper of a card,
Hmm.
and I thought, all in all, it was actually mostly a really, really good show. Now, the show started off with AJ and Seth for the new
Hmm.
World Heavyweight title, which shocked me because I expected to hear Brock Lesnar's, music and for his plane to be touching down on friendly, soil before that show was even over. So I was immediately out of the gate. I was blown away. But you watched AJ and Seth, you said. So I'll let you deliver your take on this one before I jump in with anything.
It was another good match. Those guys can't have bad matches, but uh, I just wish that we could have more heel AJ, especially in this scenario where Seth has pretty much all the momentum, let's face it, because AJ's just coming back. But it felt more, like a baby face versus baby face type of match.
Yeah.
There was just no emotional exchange of, like heat to come back, kind of a changing of momentum of any, because the momentum just kind of stayed. I mean, if they were working at a 7 the whole time, it was the whole time 7, so I just didn't. I felt like AJ came out with like a good baby face reaction, probably like a big like, oh wow, it's AJ Styles, which was great. Then I was really hoping for Seth to get up on him with the music playing and how the crowd was behind him so much, At first I thought, because everybody was talking about, especially I think they were in the UK a few weeks ago, and how the crowd was just going insane for Seth. I thought it was, well, maybe it's just because of the song, because they were doing the whole thing playing up to the song, but they were with him, that whole match. It really would have been good if AJ, like, at some point would have got pissed off and just really cranked up the heat and got mad at the crowd for cheering for him or singing his song, or, reacted in some way where the crowd could get on AJ, in a negative way, but that did not happen. So it was a good wrestling match all the way around, but with no heat, serious heat, and the only thing Seth had to overcome was the knee injury that he suffered on the big dive,
Right.
And then that just led to a couple of false finishes with the submission. Like, why couldn't they do that in the beginning? And then
I thought
AJ
it was
just go to
crazy.
work.
Like they started with like a really quick, like a hot pace in the beginning, and then they
Yeah,
slowed down
right.
for like just a minute or two, and then they almost like started trading false finishes like very early into the match, which I thought was cool. Like they were like stacking stuff up, and somebody would hit a big move, and there was a lot of like oopsies, catch, reverse, hit something, go for the cover. Like I thought their pace and the way they structured the match was like way different than most people are doing right now. And with a crowd like that was, we make jokes, say those people are in there at gunpoint, but they definitely know what they're watching, and they were super excited to have it
Yeah.
there and were super into everything they saw. Did you notice the one point where like AJ dipped out of something and then hit Seth with the wheelbarrow into the face buster, and then he went to cover him and his shoulder
And the
was up
ref
over his
and
leg,
the ref,
and the ref
yeah.
was like, "Oh, let me put that down for you," and then counted. I thought that was good. Like, what a helpful referee.
Yeah,
Like,
I
I
was just watching it, and Becky was watching it with me, and she goes, "Is the ref supposed to do that?" And I was like, "Well, no, but like that's why
yeah,
commentators brushed right over it, didn't acknowledge it, except the fact that he was slightly off, on AJ's foot."
I was watching it with my buddy James, and he didn't notice it, and I rewound it, and then AJ turns around and was like, "What the fuck, man? That should have been 3." And in my mind, I was like, "It wouldn't have been anything if the referee didn't help you out." So, but yeah, I mean, I thought it was great. They did that gnarly looking aprons. What are people doing apron spots for? Did you catch the apron spot in there where it was like, I don't know what they did, but like Seth barely caught half the apron with his back and then ate shit on the floor. I don't
Yeah.
I don't understand the need for spots on the apron like that. Like, could you find a more dangerous way to like for something that doesn't really need to be there. Like it's an unnecessary risk.
On the edge of the apron at that.
Yes.
It wasn't even a flat bump. I mean, he
No.
just spilled over, which was like all spine hitting the corner. It was just could have been. I mean, I don't know.
That's
I don't know. I just
like that.
I felt for those guys.
Disaster.
They could have just did their stuff and not had to do anything similar to that. I mean, that part was probably the only part that was really that bad or whatever. But yeah.
What do you think of the finish?
I thought it was good. It would have been, like I said, it would have been a little bit better for everybody involved. I thought if AJ would have did the leg work earlier on, maybe clipped himself, then worked it over, not in a big way, but kind of throughout the heat, like touch on it a little bit. And then Seth hit a dive on a comeback, then sell it big there, maybe, then something, and then, a submission. I thought maybe that would have been a little bit better, just because if AJ was healing on him and really, cranking it up on him, the crowd would have been excited for the big rope break. Like that's the whole point when having a submission or working a injury angle throughout the match. That's what that does, is it really sets up that pop for when the face grabs the rope. So you could have did something, AJ has him, Seth's almost there, drag his ass back to the middle, crank, big army crawl, fall. That could have been like, whew, a moment. But I mean, these are all like small little details, but with that type of crowd, they're just there for it. Like that, how many times has Saudi Arabia crowd been treated to something like that they really could have, like psychology wise, like, because you saw the kids in the crowd, man, they were popping and high-fiving, and
the grown-ups, they were,
everybody. I mean, I think something like that would have probably benefited, and they do it twice a year or something. So I mean, if AJ really worked himself as a full-blown heel, like Ric Flair style, just going to the leg and just posting it,
those people have been throwing.
It would have made more sense because he went for that stomp, right? And then he collapsed. And after maybe 2 minutes of working it over, it's like, wasn't that, it wasn't as dramatic as maybe as they thought,
Just for him to be able to turn around and hit it a minute later.
Yeah, it's like, it just, I don't know.
There was one little, what seemed to me to be like a miscue in there. Like Seth was hitting those rapid fire toe kicks, right?
Yeah.
And I think one of them might have kind of
rocked him.
Yeah. Because he went down for the stomp spot.
Is that?
And he never came back up.
Yeah.
And then Seth just came and was like, here's a stomp on your hand.
Yeah.
And then when AJ kind of popped up, like,
yeah,
he had the 1,000-mile stare and he had a little bit of hard way going on his forehead.
I saw, yeah.
And I
saw that.
Maybe.
And then I think Corey Graves said, oh, he stomped on his hand.
Yeah.
And I think AJ pulled his hand back, but I don't know if that was for any particular reason, but well, he was kicking him in the forehead a bunch of times. So
the first couple looked like shit, but then the last few were just like, fuck your face, fuck your face, fuck your face, fuck your face.
I didn't realize that's what the blood was from, but now it makes sense. Yeah. Cause he just kept going with it. But I don't know. When you do those, for guys that do them, you're not supposed to have them so low where they're close to your, the top of your foot. You want them a little bit in, so they're like almost brushing against your shin, lifting upward, especially for WWE style. It's not so Kawada where you're just kind of, he legit is punting where the top of his foot is sore the next day. These guys could bring it up and then make a bigger motion for the, for the crowd, but
plus you've got the the advantage of long hair there on AJ, which
Right.
like
Yet you're
you don't
still
really need to
booting
kick
them
him
in
in
the
the face.
face. Yeah.
Well, maybe AJ owed Seth trans or something.
I was gonna say, like, they have something. Some sort of receipt came that night.
And then finally with this, I feel like that belt is growing on me a little bit.
Yeah, I'm with it.
And I don't. There's, I've been saying I've got Seth Rollins fatigue here over the last few months. But there's just something about Triple H handing a title belt to Seth Rollins that doesn't get old for me.
Yeah.
But that
One
was
thing.
huh?
A couple things. First, do they have the fucking Velcro on this belt? Did you see?
I believe that they're magnetic.
Oh, is that what it is now?
Yeah, I
Okay.
believe they've got bullshit
Magnets.
like clasps on them
Oh,
that don't
okay.
actually do anything. They're for the look.
Right. Okay.
And I believe it's either magnetic or like some type of like Velcro that isn't like poor people Velcro that like we get on sneakers.
Right.
It's
I
like
was
some type of industrial
okay.
shit.
Because when Triple H put it on, it like he just plop plop, like there you go.
Yeah.
I was like, that's not the Earl Hebner. This buckle ain't
No,
working.
these belts are made
Struggle.
out of like fucking Trapper Keeper. Like that shit was just like
Yeah. Yep. Boom boom. Yep.
yeah.
And then the other thing that started surfacing last night was the lineage of the championship no
Which is
longer
bullshit.
exists. But the whole point of the belt was the crown that Bruno had on his and the lion for the symbolizing the McMahon
Family,
whatever.
right.
Right. But yet the belt means it's just starting all over again.
Right, because the 60-year lineage is in the WWE Championship back from when they combined that with the World Heavyweight title, right?
Right.
Remember when they unified that shit with Randy Orton and John Cena? And then they made the scratch logo one that The Rock won
Yes.
after they got rid of the fucking
Yes.
stupid spinner.
Right. That's
Right.
right.
And then there was unification bullshit. And then they made the new black one that didn't
Yes.
have the scratch logo, that had the WWE Network logo.
That's the Roman one now.
Right. And that one had the WWE title and the World Heavyweight title combined. That's why they made a Universal title. And now that they've combined the WWE title and the Universal title, they're showing us this World Heavyweight title,
And it's
and they're
brand
basically saying this is the shit that Bruno had and
right.
that Ric Flair held. And no, that's in the other belt. This one's
Yeah.
just metal and leather, motherfucker. Like, this has just got no lineage whatsoever.
So yeah, so like somebody posted from the official WWE website was the hours and down to the seconds that Seth reign is, which is it was like 3 hours and something, and I was so confused because the whole point of the belt design was the legacy of the 60 years of the World Heavyweight Championship. I don't know. I didn't like that at all. As a wrestling fan,
They
I was
love
like,
to pretend people like us don't exist.
yeah, like yeah. Anybody that I don't know, like the highest point of pro wrestling was in the late 90s, where just about everybody and their mother was watching it at some point or another. And now anything from that point on, they act like just doesn't exist unless it's John Cena related.
Right.
And it's just, I don't know. I didn't like that. I just thought it was a shit way out, and what's my question would be next is what are we doing with Roman's belts, or like, because he still has both championships, which one is the WWE championship.
They've never addressed that. They've also never addressed what they're going to do with the women's titles being on the opposite shows.
Right.
They've yet to mention that, which I'm cool with, because I'd rather it be on the wrong show than them do the like, here, you take this one and I'll take that one bullshit, because that is just like, that is a statistics and record keeping nightmare waiting
Yeah,
to
right.
happen. If you're
Yeah.
just handing one over than the other.
At this point, they swap championships. So
Yeah, it's a,
right.
is this a new reign? Does your old days count?
Yeah.
Like, and they've yet to address, if the tag titles are going to be on both shows.
That was the next thing.
It's just like it's almost sometimes there like the plan is to be like, well, we'll just ignore it.
Yep.
And it works for some things, doesn't work for other things. Speaking of things that worked, up next on this show was Becky and Trish. And I was immediately ready to like not fuck with this match. And like I even fast forwarded like the first 2 minutes of it. And they had like a hell of a fight.
Cool.
Like it was fast paced. They were just throwing bombs at each other. They tried to get cute with a little wrestling here and there, and that kind of fell flat. But when they were just like fighting, the crowd was hot for it. And it looked believable that these two chicks don't like each other, and they were out there trying to hurt each other. So I thought it was a good match, and it was way, way, way better than what I expected it to be.
And who went over? Becky?
Becky did, yeah.
Okay, so does that mean Trish is done? Like,
well, that's the, I don't know if they really addressed that yet, because they did pick her as a draft pick.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Which kind of insinuates to me that maybe it will do something else, or maybe it was just to keep her in the mix to finish out this program.
Do they have a big Toronto show coming? One of the pay-per-views? I know we're getting off subject, but I know Forbidden Doors in Toronto, right? I thought, so I saw the advertiser for Money in the Bank. That's at the O2 in London or whatever.
Right.
I thought they announced like a Detroit stadium show, and then they have, I don't know. I just thought maybe you're keeping Trish around for that one or something, a send-off deal or something.
Right. No, but I mean, for what I was expecting, I was pleasantly surprised.
Good.
By the pace and the fact that instead of just trying to have a wrestling match, they went out there and had a fight.
Cool.
It made perfect sense, and then it was over. After skipping like 5 minutes of bullshit after that, we then got the Gunther and Ali match, which Gunther and Ali, they Gunther, dude, he's really, really smart in the way he puts his matches together.
Yeah.
Like he always knows where to put other people's stuff to insert it into his style of match.
Yeah.
Without like abandoning what his wrestling match is. And Ali, dude, he was the perfect pinball.
Yeah.
It was like a Super Bowl. He was here, he was there, he was here, he was there. His selling was like perfect. Like, dude fights back, he fires up. It's like believable. He's got the look, and it's almost like Tibbs. Like he gets wild eyes and like, or like he makes an opportunity and like he looks up and gets wide eyed and sees the top rope and pulls himself up and he goes for it. And like, like you can see his, like what he's thinking through his facial expressions. And like, it was good. It was probably, it wasn't long. But it was like the most perfect match on the card.
Yeah.
So I wonder going forward, like what they're thinking to do with Gunther.
I feel like they are gearing him up. Here's what I'm wondering: when do they have Brock till?
Right.
Because his exit will be Gunther. I think.
You
Like
think so?
I think because the crowd wants Gunther versus Brock, but what we need is Gunther to end Brock.
Right.
Because although, Brock's still valuable even after that happens, we that's the way that is the way Gunther can lose the Intercontinental belt without dirtying himself up and keep his steam going after Brock for revenge and then ending a Brock run, even if it's for a year, 6 months, whatever. Like Brock just goes away and resets.
Right.
I need Brock and Gunther in my life at like WrestleMania, and it's just a nice 10 minutes of just two men beating the snot out of each other until one can't get up anymore. Like
That's
Brock,
what it would be.
Brock has the perfect chest for Gunther's
Oh my
fucking
God.
top, bro. Can that be a Sting Flair purple
Talk
pec
about
day?
hamburger meat. That'd be a fucking crave case.
That would be awesome. Like as wrestling fans, like we need to have that match. I think wrestling needs to have that match.
Yeah.
And then you can send Brock home, and even if it's for 6 months, it's fine. But this Gunther needs that. He needs it because at this point, they're doing everything right that they can possibly do with him.
Now he needs a credible, big time.
Correct. He just needs. We all know, being wrestlers, that he knows what he's doing. The fans can see that he's a threat, but what kind of threat? Like he needs to be that next level. Go through Brock, and then hello Seth, and then take that world championship, and he's just a made man from that point on. But yeah, we need to have that. So I am curious what Brock did as far as like commitment wise. He usually does at least bigger events, Manias to Mania or SummerSlam.
Yeah, I feel like he's been here all year.
Yes, I feel like he has. That's why I'm curious, like how much more does he really want to do if we can get him to next WrestleMania? Because I felt like with Gunther being one of the final four at the Rumble was a huge thing. We all know that the final four usually settles us down for the next few top guys. So in that mix was him and Theory, right? Weren't 4 or 5 of them, So right there, you got your whole future set up with Theory is kind of sitting in there waiting to get shot off, and so is Gunther. I just feel like Gunther and Brock has to be the big moment.
The only thing there is we have to figure out the dynamic because right now Brock is a stark raving lunatic heel. You don't want to switch Gunther babyface because that just will kill him.
Yeah, I don't know if that's why I mean, like, this doesn't have to be rushed because we're just getting to what the summer. They wouldn't pull that trigger too quick. Him losing the Intercontinental belt is going to be its own thing, and probably needs to settle on that. That's a whole nother booking.
Him eliminating Brock from next year's Royal Rumble can set the whole ball in motion there.
So that's what I mean. Like you got to figure out how to get the belt off him. Does it involve Brock or not? Because once you do that, you're on a fast track to the next big pay-per-view with them two. Right. So how and when do you pull that? Is that his revenge for getting thrown out of the Rumble? Gunther throws him. He's got a title defense,
Elimination Chamber.
Right, exactly. Boom. And then we're off to WrestleMania. So I don't know. I just feel like that match needs to happen at WrestleMania, and that's going to be Gunther's coming out moment.
So, Also, I just to make mention, because it matters so much in the next match, the crowd is still super,
Mm,
super hot at this point.
mm,
And then next is Bianca and Asuka.
mm.
And Bianca Belair is under. She's not over anymore. This
Really?
is the second international. It's tough to call Puerto Rico an international crowd because they're a
Right.
U.S. territory, whatever. But
Right.
it's an
Yeah.
international crowd.
Right. Right.
This is the second international crowd on back-to-back pay-per-views
Mm.
to just piss all over Bianca Belair.
Well, I mean, like that was one of those things that was they had to have seen that it had short legs on it, because what is she doing? She's just happy, twirling, skipping. That only goes so far.
She's the ultimate sports entertainer.
Yes, yes.
She is not a professional wrestler.
Right. Yeah. She's a superstar track athlete that
That they
said,
taught some wrestling moves.
yeah. And then they're like, hey, I can do this. This is way easier than running for my life, and now all of a sudden she's just in the machine and they're just moving her through.
Right.
Now the question is, can she be a heel?
I think she can, just because I think people are going to be more inclined to naturally dislike her.
Yes, but can she wrestle like a heel and get that over? Like that, like saying you're the bad guy now doesn't just make you that, because then the crowd, if they're disengaged now as a face, that means she lost that steam. So when they turn her heel, she can lose that steam again. Then what do you do?
Because I wrote down my notes for this match, well, for the whole show, and like the fifth thing I wrote down about this match was, does Bianca need to be a heel?
Yeah, because this is already run its course, and she doesn't know how to stay over as a face. That's the problem.
That was the thing. The crowd went flat on her, right?
Right.
So the crowd went flat. They got quiet, and then when they came back up, they were chanting, "Asuka's gonna kill you."
Yeah.
They were pulling for Asuka hardcore, and then like Bianca constantly, she's like snake bitten because she's constantly outperformed by the other matches on the card. The other women's matches on the card. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it was the same thing I said at WrestleMania. If they would have went,
Right.
if she would have went on first,
yes,
it probably would have came off better. The crowd would have been more into it. But they had just finished watching Trish and Becky beat the dog shit out of each other. And then they went out to have a spotty sports entertainment match. And it didn't work.
But that's what I'm saying. She doesn't know how to work. She knows how to do the wrestling moves that WWE taught her to do.
Right.
That's the whole, that's what I'm saying. There's such a difference between, in like, I know they were saying this a while back. A buddy of mine out here in San Antonio kept commenting and throwing it in the indie guy's face that Triple H said, they're trying to get more athletes that they can teach wrestling to than have independent wrestlers that have bad habits. And which is funny to me, because that Black and Gold brand had all those bad habit indie guys selling out the Barclays Center with the hottest crowds in pro wrestling. And the only thing that was interesting in WWE at that time was what Adam Cole and Aleister Black were going to wrestle each other, for the NXT championship, and now everyone's, now the big rave is like, oh, we'll get these all-American athletes to come in here and learn at the Performance Center. That'll last you. That has like a 3 to 5 year shelf life.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. Because beyond that,
the indie stigma was the indie wrestlers had bad habits, but they had habits that were wrestling habits.
Yeah, but they knew how to change. A good indie guy is going to know how to wrestle like a good guy and wrestle like a bad guy. When WWE when WWE is the machine pushing this story, you realize you can work less in the ring because the hard work is already being done for you, as opposed to on the independents, you have to do both yourself, and that, Bianca would be a classic example of how well is that going to work out for you. And a girl like Becky Lynch and is going to be a girl that's like an indie girl turned WWE superstar, like she can do both sides and she'll do different characters for both sides. And what's Bianca going to do? Not smile while she twirls and skips and,
Right.
that's the only thing she knows how to do. Like,
Dude, their finish, though, was a very, very clever finish. I don't know if you know, but Asuka went over.
Yeah, well, I saw that she won over.
So she went to blow the mist at her earlier, and Bianca dipped it. And then Asuka got shit canned, and she dipped her fingers, which were all taped, in her mouth.
Oh, yeah.
Covered it up with the mist. Bianca picked her up for the deal.
Yeah.
And then she put her fingers in her eyes.
Oh, okay.
And Bianca fucking dropped her. She hit her with 2 kicks. And then when she covered her, she turned her face away from the referee.
Okay. Nice.
So the referee wouldn't see the shit all in her face. Right. She counted 3.
Yeah.
So it had a clever finish.
Yeah.
Like I remember you said for their WrestleMania match that their chemistry wasn't good.
Yeah.
And it's still not. So hopefully they do something different. And then at this point, Natalya's music hits.
Uh-oh.
Right?
Now, I heard this was not long.
Dude, I literally was like, oh, let me fast forward the entrance. And when I hit play, 2 minutes later,
it was done.
Natalya was flat, and Rhea Ripley was carrying around Dominic.
Oh.
So it was like, and I was trying to write down at the same time, too many women's matches. But I guess the only note I had for this was thanks for coming, Natty.
Yeah.
Because could you imagine flying halfway around the world into frenemy territory?
Right.
Having to put on a bodysuit because they don't want you there to begin with because you're a woman.
Yep.
And then they're like, all right, you're going to go 1.5 minutes. Like, you couldn't have CGI'd that and let me stay.
Yeah. Bell rings and ref says, take it home.
Yeah. The ref might have ran up to her in the entrance ramp. Right. And like, take it home.
Yeah.
Like, why did they even need to do it?
Yeah. Well, what was the point in having another, Rhea didn't need it.
No, it's not you needed to fill time. It was only 2 minutes.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like this whole part of the show was, I guess, just to get everyone paid. But I mean, at that point, it does nothing for Rhea except, is this going to be the most dominant run as whatever color belt she has, run of all time? Is that what they're trying to do? Is the blue one? I think it's the blue one.
Yeah, it's the blue one, but it's on the red show.
Okay. So is this supposed to be Rhea's most dominant? Because that would be the only reason. Why else is she running through girl after girl? And then, not that Natalya is not worthy of it, but character wise, they're really starting at the bottom of the barrel for Rhea, because the chick on the LWO, she's done nothing. She's not a good wrestler. So she was there because it was Puerto Rico. Natalya is like, all right, we'll dust off Natalya again, get her in there to just move for Rhea. What was the point? That didn't have big build up. Nobody was really going to think this was going to be a title change. Let's face it. I mean, what was the point in really doing it except money,
Right. And on a sold show like that, is it even a money thing? Like,
Well, I mean, as far as I know, like the payoffs for the Saudi Arabia are like the most they'll make all year. So I'm sure, yes, in that sense. And wasn't Natalia the first woman match they had? Was it her and Sasha or
I want to say maybe.
I mean, for that might have something to do with it, like kind of keep that thing going. But nevertheless, the whole point is, what is it doing for Rhea? You know,
Right.
like this could be the start. If this is the start of a historic run, great. You know, if she's going to get screwed over and then end up leaving Judgment Day, or it's going to be something stupid, like, man, like they need to heat up the rest of Judgment Day to catch up to Rhea.
Yeah, and Dominic.
And Dominic. Well, yeah.
They flew fucking Dominic over to Saudi Arabia to do
hang
dick.
out. Good for him.
Dick.
He's living the dream right now. He's just riding everyone's coattails, and he's the most over guy, though.
His
dad
unreal.
got him over, and then Judgment Day, and now his girlfriend's the hottest thing in WWE. So he's just long for the ride. Good
It's
for
incredible.
Him. It's awesome. I want to be Dominic when I grow up.
He might really be a Guerrero.
Yeah.
There's a chance here. Oh Christ! So what was next? All right, next was Brock versus Cody.
Yeah, how was that? I mean, I'm sure it was a story, right? Because I saw the whole arm thing.
Yeah, Dusty 101.
Okay, that's what I figured.
You know what I mean? Like that.
He's gonna lose. He's gonna be hurt. Yeah.
He did everything Dusty would have done except for yelled "Make it count" right before he broke his arm. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah, I need Brock to grab a steel spike and then stab Cody in the eye, and that
just in my eye. I know the network doesn't like it.
Yeah, we'll figure it out after.
Right, but I mean,
Cody, they should have did that angle right before they sold to Endeavor, because that was the angle they did right before Turner took over.
Yeah,
I would have enjoyed it.
So, Cody comes out and they're talking about he's in a titanium cast
on it for his wrist. Did you see? Yeah, it was for his wrist, right? But the Kimura pops your elbow or your shoulder. But nevertheless, I understand. They WWE'd the angle, yeah.
So he's got the deal on.
Yeah.
And immediately he starts going to town on Brock with the cast to the little spot on his forehead. I really think they were hoping that it would open back up, but it really didn't.
Oh.
And then
so he just pissed Brock off by stiffening him a bunch of times.
Yeah, with this fucking thing on his hand. And Cody was super over.
Good. All right.
He toned down the red, white, and blueness of his costume, and he wore just like one of the white and gold ones.
Or it's at TSA right now. They were like, yeah, you're not bringing this.
Yeah. And they were just being like helpful. Like, listen, dude, you might not want to bring this in there.
Go with red, white, maybe some gold. You know?
Gold. You have gold.
Gold.
You have gold. We'll put tape over the AEW logo. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry.
So yeah, that's enough to start. And then Brock sold his ass off for him.
You know, man, people since the beginning. Do you remember those matches he had with Undertaker? Brock in the early 2002s, man, he was such a great seller. And then once Cena and him started going at it, you know, he didn't sell much because at the time he couldn't. But yeah, like when he's in there with the worker, look at the AJ match he had. Look at the match he had with Bryan. Remember he had the same style match with Bryan?
Yeah,
I think it was the Survivor Series, I think. And anytime he's in there with the worker that has earned,
was it Joe they had?
Yeah, him and Joe. Him and Joe had another banger, but that was more of that was more selling because Joe's a bigger guy. But what I was saying was like when AJ rolled him into the calf cutter or whatever, he sold his ass off even after the match. I remember he was like scooting back, like like limping, you know, and he sold Brian stuff, and like Brian and I are the same height, you know, so
Yeah.
like imagine that hitting Brock, you know, and him selling it. So when he's in with the worker, you know, Brock is money all the way
Yeah.
around.
So he sold his ass off for Cody.
Good.
And then when he cut him back down
Yeah.
and started tossing him around and shit, and he was making his mean Brock, it occurred to me, like, how good would this iteration of Brock Lesnar been against Hogan in like 1990?
God.
Could you imagine?
So much money.
So they might have actually got to go to the LA Coliseum that year.
That year, WrestleMania 7, you know, with the security reasons.
Yeah, the security risk.
Yeah.
Sarge was they were all after Sarge. We had to move it indoors.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, and then they worked the Kimura again. And you know, Cody tried to get the high leverage on the pin like he did in Puerto Rico.
Oh yeah, that's how he beat him, right? Yeah.
And then Brock rolled through and was like sitting on his legs while he had it.
Yeah.
And Cody was in it for a while, and then he got the ropes, and then he started making a comeback. He kicked out of an F5. Brock kicked out of a couple of crossroads that he took, like, you know how like Brock takes like those unorthodox, like, ooh, that looked like it hurt.
Yeah.
He was just like, Cody hooked him up and he was like, 1, 2, dive on my face.
Yeah.
You know, like 3 times in a row.
He does that where he's like,
Cody hits his finish and never goes for a cover.
You know how Brock does, he just says, hey, you know what I'll do is I'll drop myself on my head.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, don't worry, my forehead will catch me.
Yeah.
And
I did it at WrestleMania 19. Watch.
Yeah. Yeah. I got these 2 things over here.
Yeah, yeah.
Where most humans have nothing, like built-in padding. But and then eventually he got Cody to pass out in the Kimura, and the ref stopped it. So we're gonna get a rubber match. I'm hoping that it's maybe not right now, like not Money in the Bank. Maybe it'll get them through to SummerSlam.
Money in the Bank's in the UK, so they're gonna need all the star power they can get.
And I guess they're going to want to put on a bigger show there right before AEW shows up, right?
Of course they do, yes. So you need Brock, you need Cody, you need those guys on that show regardless.
So, but it's a rubber match, so we can pretty much guarantee there's going to be a gimmick. So what do you think the gimmick's going to be?
I don't know if – I don't think they need Hell in a Cell. So a regular cage –
yeah,
you know?
but they haven't had, like, nobody's ran from the other, though. You know what I mean? There's been no chicken shittery.
Yeah,
like,
but you're putting logic
or a false count anywhere.
You're putting logic into WWE booking on premium live event status here. Like, you know, they just want to set something up. They just want to set up, you know. Something.
They know it's drawing money regardless, so it doesn't matter.
I mean, I guess Hell in a Cell. I honestly wouldn't be surprised. Less has escalated quicker. Yeah. You know, I could see them saying, "Yeah, we'll show them in the UK. We'll bring Hell in a Cell to that bitch." You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, and it'll be another. Brock has not done one, has he? Wait, besides,
sure he has.
Well, yeah, post UFC.
Yeah, him and Taker. Didn't him and Taker have the one where Taker won with the nut shot?
Was that Hell in a Cell?
I thought it was.
It could be. I don't pay attention, as you can tell.
You do a little improvising here. I'll do some Googling.
Okay. I don't know what that would need, to be honest with you, to fill that O2 arena, but what else would they do? can't do a street fight, or would that just be it? And then they'd have all the gimmicks down with them. Like, is he coming New Jack style with like trash cans and carts? I feel
Right.
like that
Yeah.
would dirty up Brock's image and Cody as well.
Brock Lesnar beat The Undertaker in a Hell in a Cell in 2015.
Oh, okay.
And Brock Lesnar's 2000. And apparently he beat him in a Hell in a Cell in 2002.
Yeah, that one I remember because he was on top of the cage celebrating. I remember that.
Right.
That's why I said post UFC, but I wasn't watching any WWE at that time.
Yeah, I feel like the 2015 one was when they had that weird Undertaker, like, or Lesnar sat up, remember, and he laughed at Brock. It was a major meme.
Yeah, that was at SummerSlam though, right?
Was that SummerSlam? I can't remember. They were so
that was along that time. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And so yeah, they
all right. I mean, I could see them doing Hell in a Cell. I don't see them doing like a street fight. I mean, I would hope not. For Cody's sake, to get whacked, with shit launched from Brock would not be fun.
Yeah.
But I mean, I just feel like doing another Hell in a Cell after that moment that Cody had last year is going to be less than.
What would Dusty do? Because that's what Cody's going to do.
Yeah, well, that's what he's going to suggest, right? I don't even know. I have no idea. I don't genius like
We're going
Dusty.
to have a bunkhouse match, daddy.
Yeah. Okay, come as you are. So Brock could dress like a cowboy.
Mm-hmm.
So he doesn't have to get out of his. He doesn't have to change.
Just get off the plane.
He just has to warm up, and then Cody can wear Dusty boots, jeans, tape fists. That would be cool. I'd watch that.
Yeah,
for sure. I'd watch that on time like I'm supposed to.
Mm-hmm. And then they did at the end of this match. I just wrote it down because it's something that sticks out to me like a sore thumb that WWE always does.
Mm.
Bell rings, referee bails.
Yeah.
Right? So you got this guy who's already got a broken arm.
Right.
Who just sat in a Kimura for 13 and a half minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And then you stop the match, and then you just bail.
And then you run away.
And so the camera's got him down in agony, laying there suffering, and nobody cares enough to try and help him.
This is all B-roll for the big WrestleMania package. We all know that. I mean,
right.
Anyone watching this that's in the wrestling business has to understand that this is all B-roll for later. But no, I get it. I mean, how many times? So we're gonna tell this story of fighting from underneath all fucking year, whatever, blah blah blah. It's yeah. But you're unconscious. All right, I'm out of here.
Yeah, I'm out of here.
I'm not getting any on me.
I don't want to be held liable here.
Yeah.
So right. I'm just gonna go. But that brings us now to the finish of the show. The Bloodline versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. I can't believe you didn't watch this.
This was the match that I wanted to really watch besides the AJ one. And I saw clips of it, and I can't wait to watch it. But yeah, I mean, I can only imagine. I know that I figured Owens and Zayn won. I heard Sami was crazy over, right?
Dude,
because of
not only was Sami Zayn crazy over,
yeah,
El Generico is over in Saudi Arabia.
Oh no.
Because they were laying their fucking heads off, dude. I didn't know they had Honor Club in Saudi Arabia.
All 10,000 were in attendance that have it.
Bro. This match started, and there was like 45 minutes left on the ticker for the show.
Ooh, yikes.
Right. And I was like, no chance.
Yeah.
No chance. They ended up leaving like 10 minutes for the post-production package.
Oh, okay.
Roman got in the ring and just milked.
Nice. I love that.
Just milked, looked around, backed
Yeah.
off to the corner,
Nice.
demanded Sammy. Kevin tagged out. Sammy came in. Roman milked, Roman milked, Roman milked. Tag solo. And then goes out on the floor and fights with the fucking crowd.
Nice. House
Right?
show mode, baby. Get
It
that heat.
was 10 minutes before Roman Reigns got back in the ring.
Nice.
Right? Solo's a goddamn killer.
Yeah, he's coming along, man.
He doesn't do the bullshit Uso punch.
Right. Yeah.
That all the I mean, he threw one or two of them.
Yeah.
And he's got these overhand strikes, like right to the middle of the forehead. Like the guy's shit looks great. He's gonna be a star. Man, I can't believe you didn't watch this, but Kevin and Sami Zayn are the perfect backdrop for what's actually like they're just there.
See, because they're indie guys, they know what they're doing.
Right.
And they know how to be, viable, but not take any heat away.
They know it's not about them.
Yeah. Yeah. They're worried about the angle. Let's move this. Let's move the money along is what it should be looked at as, like we need to get them along and we need to stay. But the trick is them staying strong enough, knowing they're coming out with the belt still. They need their own credibility to be up, so yeah, of course. I mean, because they're workers, not WWE enhanced college athletes,
Right. And I've been thinking about this. Obviously, the finish, the Usos came in to interfere.
Yeah, I saw that.
The super kick got ducked. They super kicked Solo. Roman lost his shit. Jimmy snapped.
Yeah.
And just thinking about this all day. And I was thinking, remember, like it was Cody's story.
Yep.
And you were like, it's not really Cody's story. It's Roman's story.
Right.
I don't think it's Roman's story.
Ooh, is it Jay's?
This is Jay's story.
Is it? But here's the beautiful thing: is it Jay or is it Solo's? This is masterful booking right here, because the rule was to have someone break out of a group. Here's where almost everyone is going to come out of the bloodline better. Everyone.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like the thing, like the Roman heel turn in the pandemic started with Jay. Jay was the first member of the family that was made to acknowledge Roman. Remember, Jimmy was gone.
Right.
Jimmy was gone because he hit the bottle and then hit the road and
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
This whole thing started with Jay.
Yeah.
And then the shit with Sammy, it wore on Jay emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's his brother, right?
Yeah.
So Jay was the bystander. Well, Jimmy essentially committed assisted suicide.
Correct. Yeah.
Right? Jimmy's going to get killed. And then there's going to be Jay.
Yeah.
To have to take up for his portion of the family. Not to mention Solo dropped the fall here. So is Solo on the shit list also.
Yeah. This stuff is good
This
because
is like an onion, bro. There's just so
I
many
was
different layers.
I was worried after WrestleMania what would it fizzle? Because normally the sad part is we're used to something just kind of coming in and going for these short periods of time. Like, what does this really set up? Does this set up?
It doesn't, I don't think it matters. It could set up so many
This,
different things that
yeah,
they
yeah,
can fucking draw it out of my hat and
right,
it'll all be good. It's all
right,
good. Like
right. Does this set up Jay versus Roman next year at WrestleMania? I
it's
mean, it could go a few different directions. Yeah, for sure.
the Usos, Jey Uso is never going to get more over
Yeah,
than he is now or
right,
has been.
right.
You know what I mean? The only thing that's going to get him more over is finally standing up to Roman and
Yeah,
then doing something about it.
the same way Sammy finally. Yeah,
I mean, win,
it's
lose, or draw, he's going to come out of it a monster star.
will
So
it be
is
like
this Jay's story?
will it be yeah, I mean, will it turn into one by one? Someone leaves the bloodline. Like first it's Sammy, then is it Jay, then is it I
Well,
mean,
it's if it's Sammy, right? And now it's Jimmy, and
right,
then it's Solo, and
right.
then Jay is the last man standing with Roman,
Mm,
and then when Roman finally, you know, pisses in Jay's mouth when the straw that breaks the camel's back
right.
comes,
Yeah.
it's gonna be, it's gonna be fucking Marty Jannetty showing back up after the barbershop window. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 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 for sure.
Fired up feet.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's gonna be a happening, as
It's
Gorilla
money
Monsoon would say.
it's money all the way around, and people what wrestlers, promoters, and anyone in wrestling needs to understand is there is no shade of gray bullshit that gets over. This
Mm-hmm.
is very good guy doing good guy things, bad guy being a bad person, and it's like, this obviously, yes, has many different layers, but the baseline, the bulk of the story is that Roman is an asshole, and a heel. And then we have the baby faces kind of lingering, and then eventually kind of like breaking away. So yeah, I mean,
As he
this,
alienates everybody around him. It's
yes, like an asshole would, right?
right.
Like, I mean, he knows he's the king of the castle, and he only wants the select few. If you're in that group, you're on the ends, you're with the cool kids, and if you're not, you're just not. There is no, well, you're kind of cool. No, you're just not.
Right.
I mean, it's really that simple. It's so good. Yeah, I can't wait to watch the match. Like I saw that when he super kicked Roman, the reaction, and I
Yeah.
cannot tell you how it gives me chills to watch guys just let it sit and marinate. Like the whole time I'm watching Roman and he's checking his jaw and like kind of like, what the fuck just
Yeah.
happened,
And Jay looks like he's seen a ghost.
And they're like, yeah, and they're all like, what the fuck, and you see
Yeah.
the people just jumping and man, that's just
Man, and
oh,
even like looking at Jimmy there, like
mm,
he looked like you ever see the videos of like people getting baptized and coming up
yeah,
born
right.
again,
Yeah,
and they're like, you can
yeah,
see that they feel like the weight of the world has been lifted
yeah,
up, even though it's probably all bullshit anyway, but like
yeah.
you can see, like you saw like a sigh of relief come across his whole body. Like it was euphoric for him.
You know what a lot of so a lot of what that is too is it is real, and it's one of those things that you've been told you're going to do for months, and then the Usos got to see Sammy have that moment,
Yes.
right? And got to see how that And as a wrestler, when you know that that's coming, you're just salivating over the idea of it.
And now
when
it's
it
on you.
happens, man, it's a moment where, like they say, like that moment is real, and you can just sit in it. And it's so good because who knows how far in advance they know what they're doing. But clearly he knew that this was coming and it was going to happen, and you knew you were going to lose yourself in it. And that's what it's such great TV. Like, it's a lot like, it's like when we did the thing where I finally beat Tibbs for the belt, remember? And then we were like, oh, the crowd's going to hate that. We were like giggling about it, how mad people, but we had no idea they were going to start the whole 400 plus or like throwing trash
in the ring.
Dude,
I remember that. You looked at me and JD and you went,
yeah,
boys, we're the NWO now.
Exactly.
Break it in. And we started throwing it back, and I'm waving them out of the building. Bye, Deer Park. Like, it was the last night of that building, and we just sent them home miserable for the last. Yes. Oh, dude, that moment is up there for me.
Right.
Like, it wasn't my match again. I was, just a side character in that, but the moment was
real, and it was that's what I'm imagining that they're experiencing when that happens. Like the Usos are looking at Sammy at the Rumble and all that, and then Backlash, or not Backlash, Elimination Chamber, as like fuck, man, I can't wait to be out there after my, when it's my turn. And when you're in a big company like that, and you're getting geared up, like when we knew Aries was going to beat Joe, right? Like that was like, fuck, man. Like, can you imagine the day I pin so-and-so for the belt? Those are the moments, that the territories or big shows, independents, whatever, build up to when you're doing it right, at least. That like AEW they don't understand this formula. Like they don't have the brain. They have the knowledge in the back, but the people in charge don't understand what like this bloodline thing is. This could keep going for 2 more years. I mean, to be honest, they know exactly what they're doing with it, and they're pacing it like this is the long haul. Like this really is going to be for a minute.
Imagine he works through all of them until finally he gets to Dwayne.
I mean, why not? If you can, who knows?
Dude, there's countless incredible directions that this can go in.
I was just going to say, and all of it is good.
It's all good.
It's all of it. And that's what I mean by, like, usually we all pull for one person to break out of a group to be to that next level. Roman may just set his whole family up for success for the next 20 years in WWE and just walk away like, all right, I'm done, I'm out, and then leave. Mm-hmm. And these guys may be running the business for forever. I don't know. It's good.
It's all good.
Yeah.
You know what else is good? This episode of Podfluxxx, I think, was great.
Yeah.
You know what's bad is that
you have to watch.
Yes, as soon as we're done recording, I've got to watch Double or Nothing. I tried to pick Nothing, but apparently that's not an option. So, with that said, I think we're going to conclude this episode right here.
Yeah.
And then we'll reconvene in about 24 hours. We'll get this episode out for Monday at our normal time. And then we'll try to get the Double or Nothing review out when Dynamite airs on Wednesday.
Nice.
What do you think about that?
Yeah. I'm gonna hunt through Twitter.
I'm
gonna hunt through Twitter and keep up on Double or Nothing just to.
Yeah, because I know you ain't gonna watch it.
God no.
No, you're too smart with your money to watch it. So
that too, yeah.
With that being said, that's Ricky Reyes. I am K Fresh Kevin Fulton. This has been episode number 8, our 2-month anniversary here at Podfluxxx. And, well, we'll catch you later, motherfluxers.